I got some Miss Couture fans. We're here with Jack Mackenroth. I know you've had such an amazing career. You're from Project Runway, you've styled celebrities, you're an athlete. Can you tell us, how does it feel to have succeeded like so much?
Okay. I think I'm a product of my parents. I'm a firstborn child. I was like so type A. I had a really good education. I went to UC Berkeley, and then I went to Parsons here in New York City, and I've just always been really driven. And if I want something, I set goals and kind of go after it. So, how does it feel to be successful? I don't know if I really see myself as that. I think people maybe outside looking in see me as that, but I just like what I do, and I'm really passionate about it, and I don't do something half-assed. So yeah, if I'm into something and I really want it, I totally go for it.
That's great. I also saw that after graduating from Parsons, you opened your own store, like right out of college. Did you have people like guiding you to put you in such a great direction?
Honestly, Parsons, old school. Like I graduated a long time ago. I'm 94, so they really groomed us to like come out of school and have our own line. It was like everyone was programmed. Like that was, and in reality, just a really small percentage of people can actually even do that. So, believe it or not, the store was kind of a cop out because I didn't. I was too scared. I was only 20. Well, I'd gone to college. I was probably 23, 24, and I was too scared to have my own line because I really didn't know anything about business. I came to New York on my own. I didn't really know anyone other than students. So I thought, okay, a store is safe. So in my head, it made sense. It's like in the location, like I actually sold some of my own stuff, but I bought a lot of stuff. Um, so in a weird sense, and I truly did not know what I was doing. I really did not, and it was so funny because I've run into people recently that I would buy from. They're like, oh, I remember you coming into our showroom and stuff, and looking, and we'd come like my friend Tony and I would skate down on rollerblades, and we'd be like, oh, I like that, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
You definitely was a great experience. I can imagine to teach you a lot of things about business.
Yeah, yeah, and I think for me, I think being naive in the city sometimes has its advantages, definitely. Um, and I always believed in my taste level and my sense of style, which I think is important. So when I was buying things, it was very quick. I would be like, yes, 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 I would wear that. And my store was menswear, and most of my design experience has been in menswear. So I'm not really fashiony anymore. Like I don't wear a lot of labels and whatnot, but it's always very a quick gut reaction to something that I see. Like, would I wear that, or would I do I have friends that would wear that?
Being on Project Runway, like what kind of doors did that open for you, and what kind of experience was that after coming off that show?
It's really crazy. I mean, I think I was on season 4, which is now they're starting season 9, I believe. It was at the height of its popularity, and it was just crazy. And I had a really good job beforehand. I'd been a designer for 17 years, and all of a sudden, I went from this desk job where I just went to like I worked 8 to 7 or whatever to people on the street hugging me and like screaming, and so that is was bizarre, and it was good in the sense that it does open a lot of doors short term. I mean, I think there's this misconception that you can go on a reality show and you're famous overnight and then you're successful in whatever field, and that's a big lie that they try to sell you. Like, you see top model, and how many people do you remember from Project Runway that have actually done things and are still having their own line? So reality shows it can be a tricky business, but it does bring you attention, and whatever you do with that was the important thing as far as like parlaying it into whatever you want your next goal or ambition to be. So yes, at first I would say in the first 6 months, stuff is totally thrown at you. Like, come to this party and just host this event, and whether you're prepared for it or not. Um, I think the American public has a really short attention span because there's always a new season right around the corner, or there's a new show, or there's a new American Idol, and so yeah, there's a lot of interest for a 6 month to a year after that, and right after you're on TV, and then right after that you have to promote yourself if that's what you decide to do.
And what do you do like now after the show to stay current and to stay in
Yeah,
just keep going?
yeah, yeah. I'm working with a friend of mine on a new line. We don't even have a working title yet, so we know what it's gonna be, but I can't really talk that much about it. So I do that. I'm writing a book. I update, like, I have 4 Facebook pages, and I tweet, and I have like 15,000 followers, and like it's constant, and that's the part of it sometimes where I'm like, oh God, it's sort of bizarrely self-indulgent and narcissistic, and it gets a little bit tiresome. But like that's the business of show business, and I think so much of design now is PR. And it's like being a celebrity designer. I think that's why Christian Siriano from my season is probably the most successful of all the seasons, because he's that great mixture of catchphrases and pop culture and good design and talent. So I think, I do have a publicist, I have an agent, I have people working for me, and it would have been really easy to go back to my old job and just sit there. But I turned 40 in the last couple of years. Thank you. There's a lot of gauze on the lens. But, and I was like, well, it may be a new adventure, who knows? And that's how I approach my life. It's like, oh, well, let's see what happens, and I can always go back.
Also, a lot of people who do know you, you're a person living with HIV. What made you come out with something that's so private to a lot of people, so public?
Well, you have to realize that when I came out about my status on the show, I was living with it for 18 years. I was diagnosed when I was 20. So to me, I had overcome most of the hurdles as far as thinking I was going to die, and I was really comfortable with it personally. And the producers came to me. They do a crazy medical history and background check, and we have a private investigator that knows our whole life. So they asked me if I would speak about it on the show, and I made a very conscious decision to talk about it openly and combat the stigma. And I think for a lot of people, it was a really great thing. And I probably get, like, I'm not joking, 5 messages a day on Facebook or email from people around the world, because it aired internationally, that are like, thank you so much. I was going through a really rough time, or I just found out, or someone in my family just found out. And I had never seen someone on television who would speak about it so casually. And not that it's a casual subject. I'm not trying to convey that at all, but I think it's great to have someone that you can look at and admire that is successful in their life and doing the things they want to do, still living with HIV, and it's not, a death sentence or what a lot of America perceives it to be.
I definitely agree with you. It's great that you've taken something and made it like you help the world and you've become an advocate for
Yeah.
AIDS. So it's great.
Thank you.
And you swim as well.
Mhm.
Are you still competing?
Yeah, my last year was really kind of crazy, and I'm now that I'm getting on in the years, I'm not obviously the competitive swimmer that I was when I was 21. And actually, as you move on, like past the Olympic level, they have what's called masters. So I'm not competing against collegiate level swimmers, but I still compete. I still swim. I just got back into training about 4 weeks ago. So when I'm training hardcore, I swim like 7 times a week. So yeah, it's major.
Definitely great exercise.
Major. Yeah.
As far as one thing, because they always say stripes make people look kind of heavier. What do you think of that?
Well, I love them. I mean, and I'm a huge fan of like prints, graphic prints, and I have a fine arts. I graduated from Berkeley in fine arts, so anything that's like bold, my eye is really drawn to that. Yeah, I mean, it's a proven fact that like the optical illusion is if you're wearing horizontal stripes, it makes you look wider, and if you're wearing black, it makes you look slimmer. So there are those things. I just think it's, buck the trends always and go with what you feel comfortable doing, because that's what you're going to look good in anyways if you feel comfortable. So, yeah, I mean, I think trends are great, and it sells magazines, especially women's magazines. They like to buy into all of that, but I kind of just don't follow them.
Another thing, I mean, if you had to say, pick a celebrity in your head that was most fashionable, who would you say?
It's so hard now because everyone has a stylist that dresses them, but I kind of like the people that take chances, like Chloe Sevigny, and that are really faithful to certain designers. And I mean, I think it's really easy to look good when you have a professional makeup artist and a hair person and you're size 0. So it's hard to tell, but I mean, I appreciate someone like Lady Gaga, who I don't think she's like obviously a fashion for the masses, but it's great that she came around and opened people's eyes again to that you don't have to be Paris Hilton or Britney Spears, and that you can experiment with stuff. And Paloma Faith is a recording artist that wears really crazy stuff that looks great sometimes. And I think there's a lot of people like that get and you always get criticized. And I actually write for Star, and we do like the worst of the week, and a lot of times I'm like, I think that's kind of cool, but you have to say something kind of obnoxious because that's what they want to read. So I mean, I think someone like Bjork, or a lot of times they look ridiculous, but that's the point. Like, so I mean, there's like J Lo and all the big beauties, Jessica Alba, that always look amazing, Sarah Jessica Parker, but like those are they're predictable, and I mean, not really. They do take some chances, Sarah Jessica in particular, and they think they always really look great. So,
And if you could pick a celebrity that you feel needs the most help, what would you say?
oh God, I'm trying to think who's in. There's some people that are always in Star Worst of the Week that are just people make a living like really just being on the red carpet. I would say I'd have to or like being the don'ts. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a lot of the Real Housewives look like messes a lot. You know who always also is like Hugh Hefner's girls, like Holly Madison and Kendra, and they always are tacky, like stuff like Coco from like a lot of the reality people don't quite have the hang of it yet.
You could get a stylist,
Yeah,
maybe.
totally.
And just one more question that I didn't ask. As far as Star Magazine, how did you link up with Star Magazine to work with them?
It was just one of those things. I mean, I'm kind of, actually, when I came out of Project Runway, I knew nothing about celebrity. I mean, and I don't think I am a celebrity. I mean, I know people recognize me sometimes, but I didn't know anything about a publicist or the whole game of like promoting yourself. And so my first publicist actually contacted them, knew someone at Star, and was like, "Can you write these fashion quips?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they send me pictures like 3 days before, and then they're about 2 weeks out, and I write like 10 different little quips for each thing, and I kind of it's fun. It's fun, and that's how my Twitter account is all like you can follow me at Jack Mackenroth. It's all jokes, and you tweeted today actually about our interview. But yeah, I only tweet jokes and I tweet funny stuff, and so that's kind of how it got started, and it's fun to do.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite part of Star Magazine. To
Yeah.
always read the worst dressed stuff.
Well, and unfortunately, they don't stick to what I write a lot of times.
Oh, really?
Well, because they can't be very biting. They have to be. Well, you don't want to be too mean to famous people either because it's just not cool.
Yeah.
But and also they're kind of catering to like this middle America celebrity obsessed. So you don't want to write something too nasty. And every once in a while, I'll write something like that's hilarious, but it's kind of mean.
Yeah.
So I try to stay away from that.
Yeah. So I read that you can wiggle your ears. Can we see that?
Yeah, I can actually wiggle each one independently. So sometimes they both move. This is the left one, and this is the right
Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. We really appreciate it, and it was just great to learn more about you. And
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see what's next on the horizon.
Good. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.